We will speak about the SEC and the Bitcoin charts, and I'm not even sure what words will adequately express what they're pleading with the judge to grant them $2 billion in the lawsuit they filed against Ripple. We will examine the total SE settlement for the crypto set. It's okay that I'm unable to speak this morning. However, are there a lot of distractions going on in the world, or is it just me? It feels nearly like something bigger now. Bigger is at stake here, so without further ado, take a seat, unwind, and let's dive into unique Bitcoin. Ethereum has gained 5.59% to $3,646 in the last 24 hours, while USDT and USDC have increased to 99 cents. XRP, on the other hand, has lagged by 64 cents. It has increased by 2.55% from its current market cap of $71 billion to $65 billion. We have now reached 2.7 trillion from 2.5 trillion. From here, where do we go? The markets appear to be very optimistic. As expected, Bitcoin will become when it reaches its next peak of 77-80K Bitcoin. There will be a slight correction while the alternative currencies rise. I've been gazing at my cherished Cardano, as you are aware. Now, it is 68 cents. I jacked up. I didn't buy it at 60, and neither did we at 57. We should have bought it at 63 or 64, but we didn't, and it's currently at 68 cents. We did, however, invest in Chainlink at about $18, and it's up 7%. That's great, and we're still trying to convince people to buy into ARP, which is kind of doing nothing, but that's fantastic for us. So that we may leave, and we're up, ICP. Over 133% thus far. You can see that we're moving forward strongly. Release this to anyone who has watched this video. We can jump ahead to this point if you've seen the video going viral of a cargo ship that struck the Key Bridge in Maryland and completely collapsed the bridge. Take a look at this. This is completely crazy. The state of emergency is declared by the Maryland government in the meantime. I've never seen a bridge fall like this. People, this is scary right now. Take a look at this. You may now proceed. The central structure is being removed, and it is falling. There aren't enough words to express it. It was a bug for Sam. Guess what? The app stores have finally approved the revised version. It is now available. The solution is available for download. Simply go get it and install it. I understand that the glitch was, preventing users from accessing their wallets, but whatever, here you have it. It will be the crypto industry's most pessimistic man. Here's your update, he says. Recall this. When Bitcoin was trading at roughly $40,000, a person was pushing for it to drop to $10,000. He kept saying that it was not working out well for him. After breaking through support, Bitcoin is getting close to the 74,000 and 75,000 liquidity zones. However, given the declining volume, particularly in the spot volume, which is not keeping pace with the move prices, those levels could be front-run. Financing rates are rapidly rising in opposition to supply. Whether it reaches 74,755,000 or not, it appears that the majority of futures are moving up against resistance at this point, so I'm still wary. You're right, cryptocurrencies may decline 20 to 30% before further additions that increase market exposure if Bitcoin retraces to 60,000 or lower. That's often how things go. This is what it is, chart. This is what I advise doing. Don't believe a word he says or anything on this chart. He has been yelling that Bitcoin will reach 10,000 for months now. He has been blatantly incorrect, but he will stick to his story because eventually he will be proven correct. He will claim that he called it the entire time as Bitcoin began to reverse, which is how cryptocurrency is that easy, Mike. It works for everyone. Manfield released this. Examine this one. Yes, the Ripple Companion and the Leatherback. On the Indian rupee, banks have joined forces. Transfer users can access payouts, the INR, and Indian currency remittances through Sender Leather's remittance system. Users only need to supply an authentic Indian. The IFSC, a financial system code, functions similarly to SWIFT codes for USD and GBP payments, enabling customers from over 20 countries, some of which have connections to the UK you may be aware of, to complete their payments. Canada, Nigeria, Central Africa, and West Africa, as well as having access to up to 15 different currencies. How does this function? Upfront, minimal costs, competitive XFX rates in real time, and a safe, quick, and simple user onboarding procedure to give and access more payment options outside of India. Isn't it now that the bank has been utilizing Ripple for quite some time? James K. Fowley released this to the SEC at one point. They're out, in my opinion, they lost. I believe that they are unsure of their own thoughts. Honestly, I don't see much of DC anymore. Like you people, they're crazy to move. They simply toss everything. It says that they can and that they're attempting to extract something from these people. The government of the DCC has submitted its entry tree and moved for remedies for both its final judgment and its memo. I'm telling you that I am unable to support that motion for Lore's proposed judgment this morning. Are we observing correctly? Dark Horror, the SEC's uncensored document is at last available. DSEC requests an injunction from the judge. I believe that Ripple has demonstrated an inability to comprehend investment contracts by selling XRP to institutions. DC has asked for about $2 billion, but it is not their responsibility to be precise. Instead, Ripple and the judge should talk about the insane amount of 2 billion people. I'm aware that Ripple is boasting about their victory, but the law makes it evident that it either don't care or are still unaware of their mistakes. It's a fascinating perspective, isn't it? Arguing that only decor is insufficient and that a civil penalty has been imposed. Crypto L used that as his 300% remedy for not registering a certain type of sale. There was no fraud and no damage to investors. Since XRP was set to surpass its all-time high, I believe the SEC did more harm than good to us investors. We were ready to break that about 190 something, and then all of a sudden there was a bada boom and bada beam. SEC reduces the low to 17 cents, and we proceed. It's from the crypto law. Do you recall John Dion's thing? Claims that there is no precedent in the past for this and that the only reason for it is to intimidate a whole sector of the economy for daring to stand up to the government. But then we get this and remember that everyone has the right to their own opinions. According to the SEC, Ripple is essentially still selling XRP. Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson allegedly informed us that they had discontinued selling this document, which was submitted on the 25th, was that XRP sales will account for nearly all of Ripple's overall revenues through 2012, according to today's financial disclosures, which puts Brad and Chris in a difficult situation. They stated they had given up on selling XRP. The SEC claims to have seen the financial statements, which reveal that 100% of the company is still selling XRP. Well, if that's the case, that's not going to sit well with me because the company has declared that it has stopped selling XRP, but you can look at it however you choose. If Jeff Bezos or Amazon were to sell stock on the website, would you be upset with him, his fund, or his business? Is Ripple to blame for our anger? I mean, even when Ripple claims to have completed all calculations and to know how much is sold on open order books. Not impact the public price. Our price, I don't think you're curious as to why. This is the reason. Yes, it might not have a direct impact, but if Ripple sells 2 million XRP to return to the previous level of sales, that would be a positive step. There must be purchases totaling $2 million down there. The ability to cancel one another out, that's just how it operates. As a result, if we don't see 2 million purchases, the price will begin to decline, and if they continue to sell through open books, we'll see those enormous walls on the exchange. I have a problem with it, too, because institutions with lockup periods aren't selling this stuff for an endless number of years or until specific milestones are reached. That's not the same thing, is it? Judges have taken notice of the numerous instances in which Brad Chimes and GUG's SEC has operated beyond the law, reprimanding the agency for flagrant misuse of authority. Now for the juicy part, it is appropriate to release this. Who can recall? This is from a Converge podcast episode where the head of payments for Swift, the head of payments for the city, and the head of payment products for Ripple talked about a bunch of really fascinating topics. Chad released this. Says right down here, Peg Cantrell-Salani notices her, my mouse is over her. She was standing next to the leader of the Gauss for Citi. Recall how in 2017 Citi popped bottles at Ripple's office. Swift must act now or perish. They are aware of XRP and what Ripple is doing. Bob gave us this information. Manner in which he speaks of a fresh world with new rails. He believes that Swift will transform into Ripple in this scenario. It's interesting to note that many people won't truly get Swift. Swift is just a collection of banks, correct? Swifts are a group of banks that go by that name. Since they're all part of the same large group, Swift is a fancy term for a collection of banks that each have their own money movements and pairings amongst each other. I don't want to name Silo specifically, but the banks in their group use XRP and are either connected to or have partnered with RippleNet. Therefore, we take Swift as a whole and dissect it. We've already done so on this channel. If we start dissecting it and picking it apart, you will see that most of those banks have already embraced Ripple's technology.